Okay, I think it's starting now. Okay. So, Hare Krishna. We welcome all the devotees for our Thursday program. So, we are very happy to have His Grace Acintya Caitanya Prabhu once again with us. So, we got blessings of Prabhuji a few weeks back, and then Hare Krishna. We welcome the devotees for Thursday program. So, we are very happy to have His Grace Acintya Caitanya Prabhu. Okay, sorry. There was background. Yeah, so we are very happy to invite Prabhuji again, and we are very fortunate to have Prabhuji's association. So, almost everyone will already know about Prabhuji, but still I'll give a brief introduction. But the Prabhuji joined Krishna Consciousness in 1990s when he was in Bangalore, and since then Prabhuji is continuing, doing lot of services, different services, and Prabhuji is one of the close associates of Guru Maharaj as well. Like whenever Guru Maharaj gives class, you can always see Prabhuji is there, repeating whatever Guru Maharaj is saying, so that we can hear and understand what Guru Maharaj is trying to say. And Prabhuji is involved in lot of different services, preaching services, and Prabhuji is also taking care of a lot of devotees, giving them wonderful guidance. So welcome Prabhuji by chanting one time Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Over to you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I can start now. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsa Jeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradaine Gaura Katha Damadaya Nagara Gramatharine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् कथाञ्चन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्यं नमामि तम्. Akshay Gaursundar Prabhu, the last time that I gave a talk, was it for this Throwback Thursday or was it something
Yes,
else?
yes, it was. No, it was same Throwback Thursday, Prabhuji.
Okay, I thought it was for Delhi or something. I got a little confused. Okay.
Um, like Delhi devotees also joined Prabhuji this
A
one.
Delhi devotees also joined. Okay.
It's a mix of a worldwide crowd now.
Okay, all right. Yeah, sure. So, because I gave about 3 or 4 talks on JSSS in the last few months. So I don't know what did I
Oh,
speak last time when this thing. I remember. I mean, Guru Maharaj. I was in Mayapur at that time, and so Guru Maharaj also came on at the end. This time I'm not in Mayapur. I'm Vrindavan, but I just need to know what is it? What did I speak on last time?
Prabhu. Hare Krishna, may I?
to others, like he's
Sorry, I mean, I think I'm in Vrindavan and the connection has got some challenges here. It's raining now also. So your voice broke. Can you just tell me once again what it was?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So last time you were speaking about your experience with Guru Maharaj's, which means the day you met Guru Maharaj and then he corrected some letter, something. So then he said, why don't you come with us for the main?
Okay.
Take
So
that.
what is the theme? If you remember, if you can just what was the theme on? Because sometimes I mention these things, but what is the theme? Any Akshay Gaurchandra, can you just summarize it? What it was?
Prabhuji, you were mentioning about how Guru Maharaj is always ready to, extend for others. He's always.
Okay, understood. Okay, fine. Now, because I give 3 or 4 talks, I don't know which one was your talk, Okay, fine.
Okay.
I got it. Okay. So, in the 90s, once Guru Maharaj was giving, somewhere in the early 90s, Guru Maharaj is giving, I was sitting in the class, Guru Maharaj is giving a Vyasa Puja talk. So, in the talk, Guru Maharaj mentioned that the most confidential thing that a disciple can get from the Guru is the mood of the Guru, the mood of the Guru. So, if we can get his mood, then our discipleship, the success of our discipleship is guaranteed. So let's try to understand. I mean, he has many moods. So there is something um, which is very fundamental. Rupa Goswami says that in Krishna consciousness, enthusiasm is the most important principle. Enthusiasm is the most important principle. Those of you who hear Guru Maharaj's talks in recent times, I mean, especially his Saturday classes in Mayapur, may recollect that Guru Maharaj said, this was in the class as far as I remember. Oh, anyway, one class before he went to Rath Yatra in Calcutta. Anyway, in a very recent class, he mentioned that he does not recollect any point in his life. There's never a time after he came into touch with the Krishna consciousness movement. He said that there is never a time when he was not enthusiastic. So just a few days before that, I had given a talk in Mayapur to the JSSS, and there I had brought up this point that it is not difficult to write a Vyasa Puja offering with adjectives. A lot of adjectives. You're merciful, you're this, you're that. We can write a lot of things. I think ChatGPT has come to the help of a lot of people also who have difficulty articulating or writing poetic things. So now we even have that. But this is not what a Vyasa Puja offering. This is not the central feature of a Vyasa Puja offering. Guru Maharaj explained in the same, either in the same lecture or in a different lecture. I was saying that I was attending a Vyasa Puja lecture physically in Mayapur. So Guru Maharaj mentioned that when you write a Vyasa Puja offering, what are you supposed to write? It's not just some glorification, you're the most merciful Guru in the world and all these. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But that's not the central feature of a Vyasa Puja offering. The central feature of a Vyasa Puja offering is, if you had any interactions with the Guru, how has it benefited you? Or it doesn't matter because advancement in Krishna consciousness is not dependent on physical contact with the Guru. Even if you have not had any physical interaction, what has happened when you try to serve the instructions of the Guru. So it is supposed to be an expression of thankfulness, an expression of gratefulness of how the Guru's presence has changed your life. So that's what it is. So if we want to express our real gratefulness to our spiritual master, we should always remember that if he has been always enthusiastic, can I afford or can I give excuses for not being enthusiastic? There was a time when there was a meeting of secretaries in Guru Maharaj's office, and one of the secretaries was sick. And one devotee was present in the room, mentioned to Guru Maharaj. Because Guru Maharaj asked, where is so-and-so? So one devotee was present in the room, mentioned to Guru Maharaj that he is sick, Guru Maharaj. So he could not come to the meeting. So then Guru Maharaj said, when I am sick, I attend meetings. So then this devotee offered a further explanation. Guru Maharaj, he is so sick that he is not able to get up from the bed. He is just lying down in the bed. He cannot sit to attend a meeting. So then Guru Maharaj said that, look, there is a couch in my office here. He can come and lie down in that couch and attend the meeting. What is the difficulty? Now, those of you who may not have worked directly under Guru Maharaj may have the impression that because the persona that Guru Maharaj has is very kind, is very compassionate, all that is true. But if you happen to work under him, you will realize that he is the toughest taskmaster. Very, very, very difficult to work under him. For example, when I am charged with the responsibility of his secretarial office in Mayapur. We have about 28 members working in the secretarial office. I'm charged with that, but I'm not the one who has to manage it. So we have a manager. And our current manager, I think, is the third or the fourth. Other devotees have held that position in the past. So whenever a manager joins, Guru Maharaj, the first thing that he mentions to the manager is that the task that you have been assigned to is 24/7, 365 days of the year. There are no holidays. So, however, Guru Maharaj also clarifies, this does not mean that you have to work 24 hours. It does not mean that you have to work 365 days. It simply means that if you are called to work at any given point in time, you cannot say I'm busy or I'm this or I'm that. That's the idea. And so one may think that all this sounds very ruthless. But no one can complain because Guru Maharaj leads by example. Now, when is it that we are generally not enthusiastic? One sure thing is when we are sick, right? Because sickness affects our enthusiasm, some or the other. There's pain in the body or whatever, So generally that affects our enthusiasm. In the year 2016, Guru Maharaj was airlifted from Durgapur to Delhi. And after he was airlifted, we traveled by a different flight because that is an air ambulance who was airlifted. So the next day, that was in the evening. So the next day when I went to see him in the ICU, he had a ventilator and he had so many tubes. And when he saw me, with his hands, he did like this, saying, "Thank you for coming." With his hand, he just did like this. And then he looked towards there was a lady who was handling some medicines. There's a nurse. So he pointed to her and he was saying something. So, and there were about 8 or 10 medicines that she was trying to do something with those medicines. So I understood that to mean that Guru Maharaj needs to take one of those medicines. So I kept showing him is this the one? Is this the one? So then he said, no, no. He kept saying no. After 3 or 4, I understood it's something else. So then I asked him, do you need the alphabet chart? He said, yes. So I gave him the alphabet chart. So those who have ventilators, they can't speak. So they have to articulate their words through a alphabet chart. So in the alphabet chart, the moment he started writing, I understood. Because he started with saying teach. Then he said her. So moment he finished typing Teach, her. So I stopped the thing and I said, you want me to teach her to chant? Guru said yes. So then I went up to her and told her that see, he's asking you to learn this chanting. Then I started teaching her what the chanting is. Now he's in ICU with a ventilator, and ventilators, people have been on ventilators. It's very difficult. It's something which is stuck right into your throat. It's the most uncomfortable situation. But even in that uncomfortable situation, when I went to see him, he didn't have to say anything about himself. All that he had to say was teach her how to chant, And later, when Guru Maharaj came out of the hospital, he would say that ICUs are not a very great place to be, because there are people screaming, crying in pain, and then people dying every year. So it's a very intense atmosphere. But even in that intense atmosphere, Guru Maharaj had maintained that enthusiasm to preach. That's one thing. And now you may think, okay, this is fantastic. But as they say, I'll tell you something even more fantastic. So after 2 days, he said the GBC meetings are starting in Mayapur. So please go to Mayapur. I want to participate in those meetings. We thought that he's going to skip this time, but because he's in the ICU, but he said, I want to participate in those meetings. So then I went to Mayapur. And I had hooked on to a computer so that he could attend from the ICU. And he was with all ventilator with the tubes, and he would attend the meeting with a big headphone around his ears. So at one point during the interval, the GBC members thought, we're just trying to figure out what exactly am I trying to do. Because I'm kind of very intensely engaged with the computer, typing something, or they just what is it? What is going on? So when they came and they saw the video, they were shocked because here is someone they didn't expect that from an ICU somebody would be attending a meeting, with such difficult circumstances. So coming back to that point, we started with the meeting. So I wanted to end the loop with a meeting. So here is Guru Maharaj inside an ICU with a ventilator, with full headphones on and attending the full meeting. So that is simply possible because of the enthusiasm that he has in Krishna consciousness. And what is the source of that enthusiasm? The source of that enthusiasm is because if you notice, he wrote a poem some years ago. This life is not Jayapataka's. He wrote to Prabhupada that this life is yours. So, Guru Maharaj's source of enthusiasm comes from giving his life to Prabhupada. And he expects that all his followers, all his disciples should also give their lives to Prabhupada. And we can see from Guru Maharaj's own example that when someone gives their life to Srila Prabhupada, how enthusiastic they'll remain. In fact, if anyone studies the history of the Krishna consciousness movement, an academic or someone from outside the Krishna consciousness movement, it is always quite fascinating for anyone who reads, and which academic scholars also have said, how was it possible for someone, for someone like Prabhupada and for the disciples especially, how did they manage to do the things that they did? Going to different continents without any money and all kinds of things. Of course, today there are many spiritual gurus, but they're all into social media marketing and it's all very high-fi people doing a lot of things to them. But Prabhupada is not like that. And his followers are not like that. Like the first three couples who went to London, they only had $200 or 200 pounds with them. And that was the security money. So the first couple goes to London, then they send back the $200. And then the second couple goes, then they send back the $200. Without that, you can't travel. And what do they do there? They don't know what to do there. They just start making some cake. Live in very modest conditions, and they start sending a cake, apple cake, with two Apple records, with the hope that one day somebody may respond from the Apple record. And that's another story. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the kind of enthusiasm that Srila Prabhupada is able to generate while he was on this planet is something extraordinary. And when we read the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, when we hear remembrances of Srila Prabhupada, we get a glimpse of that. Enthusiasm with which devotees performed Krishna consciousness. It's not that everybody stayed on, people left. But there are people who have stayed on with enthusiasm. Guru Maharaj is a very fine example of that. Someone who has stayed on with that same kind of enthusiasm. I first met Guru Maharaj in 1990. Now it is 35 years. But in these 35 years, I've never seen him personally. When I observed him, I've never seen him change in his enthusiasm. In fact, the same class which I was talking about, where he was talking about he never lost enthusiasm, I was thinking because that day his voice was also very faint, and so because he had just recovered from an infection. So I had presumed that Guru Maharaj may stop the class in half an hour. But that class was longer than all. It went on till 9:15. So 1 hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So this is a very characteristic thing about Guru Maharaj. When there are a lot of difficulties, he would do more than what he normally does. I've always seen this. He always does more than what he normally does when he has difficulties. So where is that coming from? That is coming from his surrender to Srila Prabhupada. It is not enough for us to just say Jai Prabhupada, oh, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and go to Guru Puja and offer a flower. Yes, those things are essential. But what does it mean actually? It simply means that we have no other interest in life, we have no other purpose in life than to execute the mission of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So you see, even Guru Maharaj, his only anxiety, what is his anxiety? That Prabhupada has given me these instructions. That's why he always tells in his classes, please help me fulfill these instructions. Because he wants to execute the orders which Prabhupada gave him. He wants to be successful in executing the order. That's all that he thinks about. So, this enthusiasm is something that we have to imbibe from the Guru. And once we think our life, there are many problems. It's not that we are free from problems. We have a lot of problems in life. It's only a question of degrees. Everybody has. I mean, what is with Adhyatmik, Adidevik, Adibhautik? These things are going to happen. Now, with those miseries, we can begin to feel overwhelmed. We can begin to feel overwhelmed. Why do we begin to feel overwhelmed? That is very important. It is not that misery itself can make us overwhelmed. There is something else which is happening which is making us overwhelmed, besides the misery itself. And this is very important for us to understand. So what happens is, I've noticed in Krishna consciousness that when devotees take to Krishna consciousness, they're enthusiastic. After 4 or 5 years, things change. And after 10 years, nobody knows what happens. Anyway, I'm not talking about everyone, but I'm just talking about a pattern. That is because we don't read Prabhupada's books for what it really is. We don't understand how the great devotees are leading their lives. For example, anyone who reads the Prabhupada's books, the inescapable conclusion is the material world is a horrible place, and there is no enjoyment here. This is a prison house. Yes, all that is a fact. But, this is the very big but. All that is true if we are looking for sense gratification. Of course, it's a place of death. Nobody denies that. But Prabhupada only says that we have to be pessimistic about materialistic life. That's all that he says. But we have to be enthusiastic about Krishna conscious life. So when we look at this material world, we are looking at it from our perspective. Oh, Prabhupada is saying this material world is not place for enjoyment. I had these plans, and okay, so this is very depressing now, but somehow or the other I've taken to it. I can't escape from this reality. I know too much now. Yes, material world is a place of misery. So what happens is people end up losing enthusiasm because they continue to look at the world through the lens of sense gratification. But what do we learn from someone like Guru Maharaj? He has gone through so much calamities. Why is he not affected? The moment we look at the material world from the perspective of our sense gratification, then it is all these things, depressing, and it is a dukkhalayama shashvatam and all these different things. It's a fact. But there is a very important thing. It's a state of our consciousness. If our consciousness is about how to enjoy matter, this is the reality. But if our consciousness is how to serve Krishna, then we see, oh, this is Krishna's energy. We are supposed to make this place into Vaikuntha. We are not saying that people will live with their bodies eternally. That's not what we're saying. But we are saying that someone can be happy in this material world at all times if they are Krishna conscious. So that is the point. So devotees lose enthusiasm because the philosophy, when you learn, we understand the reality of this material world. And because it frustrates our material plans, we become depressed. And because we become depressed, we also don't practice Krishna consciousness enthusiastically. Somehow or the other, it becomes ritualistic. I'm not saying it becomes entirely ritualistic. There are always streaks of enthusiasm and things like that. But the outlook completely dampens our progressive march of Krishna consciousness, as Prabhupada says. So, what we need to understand is how we need to look at the world the way Prabhupada actually teaches us to look. This is not a place for enjoyment for the senses. This is a place for serving Krishna. And by serving Krishna, you can actually be enthusiastic. It is not that sometimes when devotees come to the Krishna, some new people come to the Krishna conscious movement, we say chant and be happy. Are we actually happy in saying it, or is it just that?
Prabhuji, can you please make me co-host so that I can mute others? I think I
I'll mute some. I'm not a host, I guess.
Actually, you are a host, Prabhuji, now. Actually, I got disconnected, right? So that's all.
Okay, fine. So I muted them. Okay, fine. So the problem comes from the fact that we think of the material world as a place of enjoyment. This is where the problem comes. So what happens after some time, devotees are not enthusiastic because they wanted to enjoy very freely in this material world, and that is being curtailed. Okay, so they lose enthusiasm, but that is not what Krishna consciousness is meant to be about. Krishna consciousness is meant to be about enjoying by serving Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj says you don't have to decorate yourself separately if you stand in front of a mirror. Sorry, you don't have to decorate the image in the mirror separately. Just decorate yourself. Go and stand in front of the mirror. That's it. You know. So Guru Maharaj is convinced all that he has to do in life is to serve Prabhupada. That's all. Nothing else he needs to do. We may have different responsibilities. We may have different things. You know. But once we are convinced that all that we need to do in life is to serve Prabhupada. That's it. Follow in the footsteps of Guru Maharaj. It's a parampara. And once we do that, then we don't have to worry about our material necessities and material needs and all that. Krishna will take care. He will take care. And the point is that what is the use of very wonderful material facilities and all that? And if anything goes wrong, you feel depressed. No. The point is, it doesn't matter what the external circumstances are. If you can be enthusiastic all the time, enthusiastic means obviously happy also. That's a given. That's a given. So this is the very important lesson that we have learned from Guru Maharaj's life. That look at his enthusiasm. How can I get this enthusiasm? How can I get this enthusiasm? That's why Prabhupada always says, no, don't bother about all these material improvements. They will come and stand at your feet. It is not that devotees are deprived of it if they practice Krishna consciousness. No, that's not the understanding. Like Prabhupada said, I gave up a few children, but I've got thousands of children. And Prabhupada had not just children, I mean, spiritual children, but he had castles. You know, he had. In France, there it was a castle. Then in Detroit, there is a mansion. He had all these things. But in 1977, he was very happy living in the hut in Bhubaneswar. That is because he didn't care about all these things. They come of their own accord. So it's not if a devotee takes to Krishna consciousness and decides to surrender his life to Prabhupada, he will become like a beggar on the street wearing torn clothes and struggling for everything in life. No, you will not struggle for anything in your life. Absolutely not struggle. That is the beauty of surrendering to Prabhupada. Absolutely not struggle means nothing will come in the way of your executing your mission. You will remain always enthusiastic. So that point we have to come to, just like Guru Maharaj does. Jayapataka's life is yours to do as you wish. This point of surrender is very, very important. That we have come to the Krishna consciousness movement to surrender to Srila Prabhupada. And just like Guru Maharaj has surrendered, we should surrender. That's why Guru Maharaj repeatedly says, how Prabhupada says in this lecture, Grahastha should be Paramahamsas. He keeps on saying this. Every lecture it has now become a theme, you know. So it is not that it's only the sannyasis who can be Paramahamsas. Grahasthas also. This is Prabhupada's vision. So every one of us, each one of us can be spiritual millionaires, spiritual billionaires, spiritual trillionaires, whatever. All of these things that people hanker for in this world, name, fame, glory, power, rich, they'll all come and fall at our feet. We don't have to even care about it. So let's get into the mood of Guru Maharaj, that this is one life that we have. Let us give this one life to Srila Prabhupada. If we just, even if we have that desire, forget about, we may think, I'm not like this, I've got this problem, I've got that problem, let whatever be. But the moment we decide, let me try to give my life to Prabhupada the way Guru Maharaj has given his life. The moment we do that, then it marks a turning point in our life and our lives will dramatically change. That is a fact. Whoever has tried it has said it. Yes, life does dramatically change. So the whole point of being disciple, especially we are talking now about Guru Maharaj, is that Prabhupada said, like father, like son. Okay, it could be like father, like daughter also. But the point is that we are not supposed, okay, Guru Maharaj is a great person, we are all fallen. That's correct. That's not an excuse for us not to rise. So Prabhupada said if the son should or the daughter should even be better than the father. We are not trying to become better than Guru Maharaj. But we should understand what is his expectation. You know, like that is a sign of a proper disciple. That the disciple has to carry out what the Guru desires. If the Guru desires that we rise up, if he's saying like father, like son, like father, like daughter, then that's what we're supposed to do. Not simply say, oh, I'm fallen, it's Kali Yuga, this obstacle is there, that obstacle is there, what to do. Guru Maharaj doesn't talk about all these things. He simply thinks, how shall I execute the order of my guru? Finished. That's it. So there's something called paralysis by analysis, right? So you can keep on analyzing your situation. Just like a silkworm can weave a cocoon around it. It gets trapped in the cocoon, right? So like that, we can keep on analyzing our situation. If we start analyzing a situation, there are enough hundreds and thousands of complexities we'll include. Oh, we are all so much in all kinds of situations. That's not how you're supposed to think about all this. We are supposed to think, let me do Prabhupada's work. Finished. Just like my Guru Maharaj is doing. That's it. Krishna will take care. And just like what is it? We are all people here on Zoom meeting. We should also have the understanding that that's what we learn from Guru Maharaj. In fact, I asked him this question once, that I had a small eye problem, it's like I was seeing some double vision at one point in 2023. And it was disturbing me so much because whatever I'm seeing is a little bit double and it's quite disorienting. So what happened was that I went and I was mentioning this to Guru Maharaj. One day when I was doing some work, I mentioned this to Guru Maharaj. It's very uncomfortable. I've got this thing. So he said, "Oh, after I had a stroke, I also had this." So then he was, and even now his eyes are not fully stable. It's just kind of this thing. So then I said, Guru Maharaj, even with something like this, it's so disturbing. Like vision is something very important, and it's kind of distorted, and I don't even know if it's going to get fixed. Generally in anxiety. So I asked Guru Maharaj, how is it that you managed all these situations? You had a stroke, you have all kinds of things that name it, you had it. So how did he get through all these things? So then Guru Maharaj just looked at me and he said, I simply remembered the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. That's what he said. So the point is, for someone like Guru Maharaj, Lord Chaitanya is real. He's a person. So we need to understand that just Krishna is not some reality somewhere far above the cloud. Lord Chaitanya is not some reality far above the cloud. He's like one of among us. He's not like us, but he's as real as a person like any one of us. So, by seeing the way Guru Maharaj leads his life, we are supposed to develop this understanding, develop this sense of belonging. I belong to Prabhupada, I belong to Krishna, I belong to my Guru Maharaj. Like that, there has to be the sense of the sense of belonging to the parampara, the sense of belonging to Krishna. And all of these people are real people. Okay, so I think there are many things that can be spoken, but I usually leave time for question answers because that's when a lot of interesting interactions happen. Okay, so I'll open it up for some questions or comments, reflections. I would be very benefited by hearing if you have some reflections.
Yeah, like Prabhu, you were talking about, how the Krishna consciousness goes on, like when, the general pattern. So I was also feeling like initially we are very enthusiastic, but after that it becomes very ritualistic. So I could relate to that. So thank you for, because unless someone makes us aware of what is going on, becomes, we think, okay, this is how the thing is, becomes normal. So, so devotees also can raise hands and speak up.
Akarshit Vargotra. Yes, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandatana.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I am very grateful to you for such a nice, wonderful session of glorification of Srila Guru Maharaj. Prabhuji, I had a question that we see that Guru Maharaj enthusiasm and dedication to serve Srila Prabhupada mission, to the instruction of Srila Prabhupada is extraordinary. And we see even now, in even this condition, you have elaborated much that how he is serving. But on the other side, we see we are full of anarthas. We cannot even follow up the instruction of Guru Maharaj. We cannot chant nicely. We have so anarthas. We made mistakes. How can we maintain that enthusiasm? Because it sometimes gets so much depressing that we are not able to doing much. So how can we maintain that, create that enthusiasm in us? Please
It's a
guide
good
us.
question. See the root cause of the problem is you are looking at yourself with your mind. This is where the problem is. Instead of looking at yourself through your mind, why don't you look at yourself through the Guru? No, that will solve the problem. Because there once Srila Prabhupada was in his room with a reporter, and that time he received a letter from one of his disciples. So after reading that letter, tears started streaming down his eyes after reading the letter. So it was written by a couple, a couple means of a husband and wife, this thing. And in the letter, what they had written was how they were struggling to practice Krishna consciousness. Okay. And but they had expressed their determination that no matter what they're struggling, they will never leave Krishna consciousness. They will continue to pursue Krishna consciousness. So when Prabhupada read that, he was so moved that tears started streaming down his cheeks. And he showed a letter to the reporter, and he said, "Look at my disciples. They may struggle so much, but they'll never leave Krishna consciousness." So the point is, what was more important? Is it that the devotees which are struggling which is more important? Or is the way Prabhupada looking at those disciples is more important? It is Prabhupada looking at the disciples is more important, because the way Prabhupada is inclined to those disciples decides how Krishna is inclined to those disciples. That's the point. So instead of feeling depressed about all these things, you should think, okay, I am where I am now. Let me get better, because this is part of life. Like that's why if you look at 331 purport, Bhagavad Gita, very famous lines. The last paragraph, I think you can cut it and paste it on your wall. Not cut it means literally cut the Bhagavad Gita. I mean to say that you can print it and put it on your wall. So where Prabhupada says that in the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness, that one may not be able to execute he says something, injections of the spiritual mass. He says something like one may not be able to execute all the instructions perfectly, but one should not be overcome by a sense of defeat or hopelessness, but should continue practicing Krishna consciousness. So 331 purport, you read that purport. So this is how the Acharya wants us to practice. So we cannot have a better idea than the Acharya. We cannot think that we are more fallen than what the Acharya is thinking. Of course, we are fallen. I'm not saying no. But there are extremes. You cannot say you're greater also. You cannot say you're most fallen also. Like Guru Maharaj himself got chastised by Prabhupada when he said, I'm the most fallen. So Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. So Guru Maharaj often recollects this thing. So sometimes we may go to the other extreme, think I'm most fallen. Why do we have to think about, okay, we have fallen, that's fine. But instead of getting into analysis whether I'm fallen, whether I'm stuck, okay, we're all struggling, fine. So the point is that we have to look at ourselves the way Guru Maharaj is looking at us. He wants to encourage everyone, no matter what you're struggling, what you're doing, get better. As long as you have that spirit that we want to get better, then that's acceptable to the Guru. That's the point. We should not give up that. We should never give up. Okay.
धन्यवाद प्रभुजी. हरे कृष्ण.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. I am a simple housewife based in Bangalore. So often I hear Guru Maharaj saying that one should always think big. So being a housewife, how can I increase my vision and mission of serving Guru Maharaj, Prabhuji?
Are you married? Actually, I can't see you on the screen, so are you married?
Yes, Prabhuji, I am married. I have 2 children.
Okay, you said housewife. Sorry, I didn't get the.
Housewife.
I thought you were at
Housewife.
home, so I was not sure whether okay.
I said I am a simple housewife. So I am based in Bangalore.
I skipped the. I missed this housewife part. I thought you just take it. Okay, so you have 2 children. What are they doing?
They are studying, Prabhuji. One is 4 years and one is 8 years.
Okay, so I think for yours is the simplest question to answer. Every class Prabhupada is saying it. No, make your children into acharyas.
Okay.
That's what Prabhupada wanted. That's one of the greatest missions, no? Prabhupada writes in the, what do you call it, in the preface to the, in the preface to the Bhagavad Gita, he says, and please do not think that this is an exaggeration. Prabhupada actually means it. He says that even if one person becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, I would consider my mission to be successful. It's not an easy thing to become pure devotee. He's referring to pure devotee who's perfected, attaining love of God. I mean, Prabhupada at the other time said everybody is a pure devotee, but it means practicing pure devotee. But in that particular context, he's referring to a perfected pure devotee. And Prabhupada, in fact, has given that order, produce children like this, you know. So, I would think that you have got one of the most important responsibilities. It is not a joke to actually, because the most, I don't know, the most exacting, time consuming thing in the world is to raise children. It's not easy at all, you know. And so you have got a more busy life than anybody else in the world. So you may think, okay, I'm a simple housewife. There's nothing called a simple housewife. That's why I asked you. I mean, once I understood, then I know there's no, that it's an oxymoron. There's something called a simple housewife. Housewife by definition means it's a very big responsibility, especially because she's going to be hands-on handling the children. So it is not a small responsibility at all. I mean, that it may be a propaganda by people in this world saying it is simple, is this and all that, but it's not. In fact, Prabhupada writes in a letter to Arundhati Mataji, his Sanskrit editor is Pradyumna Prabhu. So he writes in his letter to his wife that he says that child worship is more important than deity worship. He says this. Child worship is more important than deity worship. Essentially, he's trying to say that takes a lot of, it's like you have to really carefully do deity worship. You have to also carefully raise children. It is a very important responsibility. So please be assured that that is the biggest thing that you can do. Of course, there is always scope for engagement. If you feel that, okay, you are under engaged, you need more engagement apart from raising children. Why not? I mean, Prabhupada did not say that you only raise children. You can also do other things. But this itself, don't think it is small. That is itself big. But if you want to do something more than that, why not? You can do. I don't know the particular circumstances of your, I mean, what a situation is at home. But if you have a desire, if you have a sincere desire, be assured that Krishna will fulfill that desire. But you cannot get everything at one shot. You have to do it incrementally. Like, for example, sometimes devotees who struggle with sadhana, they wonder, oh, I mean, it's either full or nothing, you know, either full or nothing. It cannot work like that. Success always happens by increments, you know. So do one small thing and keep on doing it consistently, and you will succeed in that, you know. After that, what happens? Incrementally increase it to next activity add on. Then stick with these two activities consistently for a long time. Then once you succeed in these two things, then you can go on to like that. Success is always incremental, you know. So there are many things that you can do, and yes, depending on your circumstances. I'm not able to say something in general, but these days with a very well connected world, there are many things that you could do. I mean, sanghas can happen online. You can take some classes online. So many different things, possibilities are there. I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah.
Yes, Prabhu, very much. And can you give 2 or 3 tips of raising a child in, more efficiently in Krishna consciousness? So some 2, 3 sutras in short,
Yeah,
which I can
I can
just
tell you what I do.
inculcate.
What I can tell you what I do. I have no what is it? Just let children be what they are. No, don't. I mean, of course, we have to teach them good habits, and that's there. But one thing that Prabhupada never did, you can see his entire instructions to uh, what is it? The Gurukul. In fact, he says the opposite in the sense that you never find a place where Prabhupada says, make the children chant Hare Krishna on beats. Never. In fact, he says, don't do that. Don't force them. If they want, let them do it. He tells them, okay, let them go. We take them to Mangala Arati. These things they enjoy because there's some singing, there's a dancing, then give them Mahaprasadam, Mangala Arati sweets. He says all these things. But he says, don't force them to chant Hare Krishna on beats, especially because Kirtan anyway they'll sing. You know, I'm just saying, so don't force Krishna consciousness on the children. Make Krishna consciousness enjoyable for them. You know, take them to the kirtans and things. If they want, they will pick up the chanting. You can always suggest, would you like to try chanting? Would you like something like, but don't force it upon them, you know. And the other thing is that don't, like in India especially, there's this problem that parents, whatever they could not fulfill or whatever they want, they want the children to become engineers or doctors, and they're so conscious about uh, social image, you know, social image, so much conscious about social image. But as far as I'm concerned, I've told my children, you can be whatever you want to be, you know, it doesn't matter to me. So whatever you are happy with, be with that. Just, yeah, of course, I tell them the Krishna consciousness is nice. So far, so good. Both the children are happy in Krishna consciousness. But when they grow up, I don't know. I can only try my best. But I'm not going to stop them if they want to go out and pursue something on their own. So we have to have that, the children should have that confidence that I'm not being controlled in Krishna consciousness, because all of us have taken to Krishna consciousness by choice. But children is different. They have no choice. Imagine, from the very childhood, they have no choice. They're born to a family of devotees. So they should feel that Krishna consciousness is natural. It's not being imposed upon them. You know, that is very, very important. These are two tips. My wife can give a lot of tips because she's the hands-on mother, and I'm just whatever. She's the one who disciplines them, and I'm more like friends with them. I mean, not exactly friends. Yeah, they're afraid of me also, but it's not like, you know, I don't do that part of disciplining them generally.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, Achyuta Ananta Vilas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danda Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Sorry, the power has gone. The power has gone here, so that's why you're not able to see me. It's okay. I think you can hear me, right?
yes,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
Prabhuji, we have seen you many times in Bhagavatam class translating what Guru Maharaj is saying, and sometimes what Guru Maharaj says, sometimes you miss on the words, and you're not able to catch up on the words. So I am curious to know what is your presence of mind during class, how you focus on each word, and like, are you scared while translating? And what is your consciousness, how you want to portray?
See, one thing is I'm never afraid while translating, because when Prabhupada, when he was sitting in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's class, you know, so one elderly gentleman tapped him and asked him something. So Prabhupada is responding, and immediately Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur chastised him. You know, why don't you come here and speak instead of me? You know, so, and Prabhupada said that was a moment of great happiness. So I'm not afraid of it, because I know if I get chastised, it's good. It's supposed to be a moment of happiness. So therefore, I'm never nervous, because I'm not afraid to make a mistake. And it's not that I get everything, as you rightly said, it's not that I get everything right. But sometimes what happens with Guru Maharaj also is very, he's not, I don't know, he's not insistent that every word should be repeated exactly as it is. Sometimes I've seen Guru Maharaj that if I say something which is, if I've not caught the word, but I understand the sense of it, and even if the word is not exactly the word he said, it's okay as long as it conveys the same meaning. But if I say something else, then he would obviously pull me up for that and correct me. Sometimes devotees are, I mean, afraid to do the translation service because it's a public assembly and there are, I mean, hundreds of people, and you get embarrassed in front of all those people. I don't have all those things. I don't have these thoughts, don't cross my mind. So what? You know, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. That's it. So, in fact, I always feel, I don't know about my wife and I, we always discuss Sujitendriya Prabhu, who translates, you know, he does a very good job actually. But somehow or the other, every single time Guru Maharaj chastises him, one way or the other, you know. So we always say Guru Maharaj has some rasa with him. No matter how well he does, still Guru Maharaj will pull him up for something. Anyway, that's the mercy that he receives, Sujitendra Prabhu. And he takes it in a very nice spirit also.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I really love when you both sit and translate, one English, one Bengali, and whom to go first. It's really very nice.
Akshay Korsundra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Vishnu. Prabhuji, I had this question, like you already answered for, how mother should take care. But for the fathers, I wanted to know, like weekdays will be busy with the office work and all, and like I have a daughter, 2 years old daughter, and she sleeps little less. I think maybe only 10 hours per day. So while I'm doing office work, she come and disturb me. So and at evening time, night time, even if we try to read Bhagavatam with her, she'll just simply try to switch pages here and there. She'll not let us read. So, it has only become like we are just telling her stories, Ramayana stories, Bhagavatam stories. It has come to that only. Like we are not, like I'm not able to, read properly. And on weekends we have services. Like I have a lot of different services on weekends. So, how do we manage? How do I manage?
See, I think the main thing with, I mean, you're talking about men, right? Right now.
Yes,
So the main thing is availability. You have to be available for your children. It cannot be that you're so busy that you're not available for them. I mean, actually, I perform a lot of services, but I make it a point that I'm available. For example, there are certain things which are very, very important for children. For example, for the children, parents are their heroes, actually. Of course, as they grow big, that's a different thing altogether. But when they're small, the parents are their heroes. So, for example, if there's a school day in the school, you may think, okay, it's a school day. I mean, I've got some important work. You cannot think like that. I mean, you have to think the most important thing on that particular day is to go to school. No matter what work you do, you even get fired, doesn't matter. Of course, I'm just you got the sense of it, right? That I'm not talking literally, but I'm just
yes,
saying in terms of weighing things. So you have to give these things priority because these are things which they'll remember. Because my experience has been with dealing with young people in the Krishna consciousness movement. I mean, when I mean, because I've dealt over the last 35 years, so many young people, is that I've noticed one pattern, that children, I mean, even if they've grown up, they have this sense, that, when I was in middle school, my father came for this ceremony and I was very happy. So this kind of thing, even though they're now grown up people, but still have that impression is very, very strong. So it's very important for them to have that thing that what do you say that sense of that you're available for them. See, generally, even psychologists have analyzed that the children get confidence from the father actually, and they get their nurturing spirit. They get their I mean, a loving spirit from the mother. But the confidence aspect they get from the father. So, so you should generally be encouraging to the children and allow them to grow, and encourage them to grow and be available for them while they're growing. So that is what builds their confidence. So when they grow up, they'll grow up to be confident people. Otherwise, they're generally because father has not been available to them. So they just they have different kinds of insecurities because of that. So these things are not to be taken lightly. These are to be taken seriously. So it doesn't matter. So what? You let the child not allow you to read. So what? Right now, that reality will change. It's not the children will remain like that all the time. They will change after some time. Everything will change. But for the meanwhile, you have to adjust and do the best like that.
thank you so much. Originally, like, at what age people, kids will let us live, do things on our
What
own.
age?
Yeah,
What age?
if I can ask that.
I think in the first 2, 3 years is generally difficult, but after that it'll settle down. After 2, 3 years, they settle down.
Okay. Give it.
Okay, I think there are some uh, people who are anxious about certain plans of Guru Maharaj. So let me just answer so that their anxiety goes away. Okay, any plans of Guru Maharaj visit to Bangalore in the coming months? Uh, Not as of now, because he has to go to America to keep his green card active. He already got an extension last time. So definitely, at this point, there is no plan about Bangalore uh, in in the coming months. But we'll see how it goes. But Mumbai, whether Guru Maharaj will come, well, the point is that if Guru Maharaj is going to America, okay, this is, I haven't discussed with Guru Maharaj, I haven't discussed with Maharaja Prabhu, I haven't discussed with anyone, but I'm just talking from based on my experience with Guru Maharaj. is that he had already planned to go to Bombay, and devotees were waiting for him in Bombay, you know. So, and he doesn't like to usually disappoint devotees. So they were very anxious to receive him. So if all goes well and he travels to America, my this thing is that he will transit through Bombay because he has to go via some, unless he flies via Dubai. That I don't know. I mean, if he's going to go, the plan was to go from Mumbai to London. That was the original plan. So unless he's going to Dubai, if he's going to Dubai, then I don't know. But either way, whether while going or coming, he will definitely attempt to come to Mumbai because devotees have were almost sure he's going and it didn't happen. So the chances are high. I would say that. But I haven't talked to Guru Maharaj on this. I haven't talked to Mahara Prabhu on this. So I can't. There is no. I don't know how to put it. This is just my based on my experience with Guru Maharaj. That's all. How he deals with his plans and itineraries and all that. Once he makes up his mind, usually he will execute it at some point. Okay. So if there are no further questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, there is one question in the chat box.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, sometimes we eat outside food. How to come out of this habit, Prabhuji?
How to come out of it depends on who's asking actually. If it is who's asked the question?
Named as a Tashin Nabisa BV.
Okay. How to come out of this habit? I mean, the standard answer is keep having more prasadam. That's always the standard answer. But see, in the days that I took to Krishna consciousness, to get some prasadam was very difficult because you only had full-time devotees and you had to go to the temple. But now that is one of the greatest advantages that you have so many devotees everywhere, you know, and you also have restaurants. I'll tell you some secret, you know, which you can try. In Mayapur, there is a group, WhatsApp group. Okay, it's a very interesting group. I think you can think of something along these lines, where there are a lot of ladies on that group, and you know they have a policy on that group. Anyone who needs food, just write on that group. You know, I need some food, or something like that. Then they discuss and they arrange, and somehow they. Of course, Mayapur is it's only not many. It's not very far. You have 3-4 kilometers of radius. But I think that in the cities you have all these. Now you have delivery things, right? People who can deliver, correct or not? I mean, in the sense that you have done so before. I don't know if it still exists or
Yes,
not.
we have so many, Prabhu.
There are so many. So then
Yes.
form a WhatsApp group among all the ladies. And if you're feeling that you want to eat some food, just put on the group and whoever wants to send you the food, send somebody the what Dunzo or whatever and get the food. I'm just giving you an innovative solution. So then all the time you don't have to crave to eat from outside.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, same continuation for the same question, Prabhu. So I recently, like a few days back, came from India to America. I live in America, Texas, and I went to my in-laws' place, my hometown, and everywhere. But they are not devotees, and I could not get prasadam over there, Prabhu. But we eat pure sattvic food. But they don't have the practice of offering the food to Krishna while eating, but they are devotees of Krishna. They have the other sampradaya. So usually when I travel to India, this is a problem I face, Prabhuji. So, so what kind of solution can I get for this problem, Prabhu?
Yeah.
So wherever go, I go to relatives' place or any place, because of out of their love and affection, they force me to eat food at their homes, but it's not offered. So
Yeah.
how to deal with this, Prabhu?
See, for example, there are some different situations. Like when I go to my relatives or anything, they know that I won't touch anything except some fruit, or some juice. That much I just maintain a basic courtesy. But I don't know how practical it is for you in your circumstances. But the principle you should remember is like, for example, you went to America. Okay. The principle is to maintain your body. That's very important. Like Prabhupada in his conversations with Ramatirtha Prabhu, Bob Cohen, he very clearly says there that uh, for example, while traveling, Prabhupada says, okay, I mean, so it's not that when food is not available, of course. So I eat the next best possible food, which is at least without onion garlic if possible. I think that's generally available everywhere. Somehow or the other you can get without that. And while before having the food, at least in your mind, offer your this thing to Krishna that I would have liked to offer this food to you, but I'm not in a situation, so kindly bestow your mercy upon me. And you can always chant Om Pavitra Pavitro Va Sarvastam Gatapi Va Yasmarit Puntikaksham Sabahya Bahyantra Suchihi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu, and then honor it.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I had a guilt of eating non-prasadam. Now I got some answer, Prabhu.
Yeah, but
Thank
you
you
see, when
so
you
much.
don't have a solution, what are you supposed to do? You don't have a solution there, no?
Yes,
So,
yes, sir,
so
exactly.
you have to just do the needful. But it cannot be, I don't know how to put it, it is an inevitable circumstance there, correct? That's why you're
Yes,
doing
correct.
it.
Yeah.
It cannot be like just some out of choice you're doing different things. When it's inevitable, then just do the needful, that's all.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, so thank you very much to all of you for joining. Thank you, Akshay Gaurasundar Prabhu. I didn't realize that I'm speaking to the same assembly. Actually, I thought it was last time it was some Delhi, this time it was Seshadripuram.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's always a pleasure to talk about Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, especially today's session, very insightful for me, very helpful for me. I also had a lot of doubts which got clarified in today's session. So I'm also very grateful to you, Prabhuji, for today's wonderful session. And on behalf of all the assembled devotees, we want to thank you, Prabhuji, by chanting one time Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhu.